Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Major Push Wrestling Talk Show Podcast. Uh, I decided that I'll probably be doing these once a week. That feels like that's best for my schedule. So I'm going to start off today talking about Smackdown, and then we'll move to Raw, which I just finished watching. So first things first, I wanted to say that Smackdown I thought was very well done. These stuff with the Bloodline and Roman Reigns, wrecking shop, and not interfering with Jacob Fatu's situation, I think is a very smart move, and I thought it was very well done. I thought the LA Knight championship, first time speaking with the championship, that he did a great job. He's honestly shouldn't be surprised, but I kind of am surprised that he's still as over as he is, since he's kind of been chasing that title for the last year. Now, the situation with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, it felt kind of odd, but at the same time, and if it's leading to a Kevin Owens heel turn, I think that would be a good. It's more than just filler, because right now you could argue Cody Rhodes' situation and his matches are just filler matches, and there's no real story behind a lot of this stuff. Even the Solo Sikoa match, like they used the history of them, like the build to Cody Rhodes' matches have left a lot to be desired. So, all in all, I thought SmackDown was done very well. There are a few things that, I don't know if it's a Fox issue or what, but there always seems to be some type of technical glitch when I'm watching the show. And I'm looking forward to seeing them come to USA Network. Now, as far as Raw has been spectacular lately. So you've got the Judgment Day and the Terror Twins, which are basically the Judgment Day adjacent. They were fantastic. The opening of the show was amazing. It's makes sense. I like the choices that they're making. I usually don't like people coming from the crowd to talk, but I thought that worked very well. And it was a really, really good couple of segments, because it was fed into the Damian Priest match, and I still haven't watched his documentary yet, but I think I'm going to watch that this evening, because it's pretty impressive how likable he is when people were calling him bisexual Undertaker and things like that just a few short months ago. I think getting rid of the eyeliner kind of helped with that a little bit. It never hurts to be compared to the Undertaker, but if you're, being laughed at, like, you don't want that. That's not the kind of heat that you want. Some people may argue that heat is heat, and that's all that matters. But I think he's doing a really good job. His work with Gunther helped him get to this point, and his work with Mommy is going to help him stay at this point. I don't know if they're going to make those two be in kind of a relationship or what have you. I'd be fine if they didn't. But if they do, that could be a very interesting way to go, because this ultimately is leading to a mixed tag match at Bash in Berlin, and I don't really remember. I kind of wish that they worked into the match a little differently. Like, you have Dominic screw over Rhea and Chase or whatever, and Pierce is, you know what, you're not going to be able to run from them, I'm going to put you in a match, whatever, something like that. It was just a title card that ended up coming up halfway through Raw, and it kind of caught me by surprise. Now, I might have missed something, but that's how I felt. So we the stuff with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk is always going to be must watch. Anytime Gunther's on my television screen, or my phone screen as it were, he's must watch. Randy Orton being there is still a little confusing, but I understand as far as storyline purposes, like, why he's over there. And now they're kind of acting like they will switch brands. Okay, but Gunther calling out Randy for having this unlimited potential and not reaching it is gold. Let Gunther shit on people all all show. I'm here for it. I'll be here for it. And same thing with Drew McIntyre. They're kind of must watch, and it's impressive how must watch people are. They're different names and faces than even this time last year. So wonderful job with that. I wanted to take a moment to make a note of Io Sky and Kairi Sane and Damage Control. I'm not a big fan of we need to give these people subtitles even though they're speaking English. It feels like they know we can't understand them, and at which point you might as well just have them speaking in their native language and giving it subtitles. I don't know. It feels a little jonky, but it is wild how over they are with the audience. Damage Control's original theme song, I think, is way bigger of a banger than their current theme song, but it still has a lot of those similar aspects to the song, so it still works for me. Io Sky, I was never a big fan of hers. Like the Genius of the Sky, like all she does is like she kind of jumps off the top rope. Like it doesn't seem like genius is the right moniker there, but you can't ignore the crowd reaction that they both get. Now, I remember all the way back, I think it was the Mae Young Classic when they're introducing all these new fresh faces into WWE audiences, and Kairi Sane was wicked over, and so I'm sure that carries over. And who they're working with definitely helps. And nobody's going to be cheering for Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville and Zoe Stark as they are right now. I could eventually see Zoe Stark being like a top level heel or babyface in the women's division. I think she's got a lot of potential, especially with her theme song. It helps. Shayna Baszler's song, not so much. I kind of wish they came out to Zoe Stark's song in the entrance there. But either way, it worked. And speaking of another thing that worked, Bronson Reed, kind of worked, because Bronson Reed, as far as somebody who's viewing the television from behind the screen, I think that him destroying some of our favorite wrestlers, like he did it once to The Miz, and WWE's like, no, let's have him do it to R-Truth because that's a more sympathetic figure. But then you got live crowd last week with Seth, this week now chanting one more time. And then when he's going back to do the move, they're cheering. Okay, so that I don't think is what we want from here. So if we either need to have him do this to heels or something like the point is being made as a viewer, but the people in the audience are chanting one more time. Like you don't want that to be happening. You don't want to be getting cheers for that. I mean, I guess any heat is good heat, but I would try to figure out something different with that. And then the last thing I want to touch on is the Intercontinental Championship match. I think they're trying really hard to make Sami Zayn look strong and not be like an underdog character. The problem is you just had him catch your champion off guard after him admitting he was underestimating him at whatever the pay-per-view was before SummerSlam. And it just feels odd, right? Like if you're going to do 2 out of 3 falls, and you're going to throw Sami Zayn headfirst into the rolling chair, like that was the most savage bump. Like at least have him take a count out victory, right? Like that, or he's not, Braun Breaker gets a fall from a count out, okay, because that makes him look strong, and Sami doesn't necessarily look weak. That was a nasty bump, but I don't, if they're gonna write that in the story, I don't know why you have Sami catch him off guard, and then Braun with a dominant performance, as it was said on commentary. Like, I don't know. I feel like any regular match, Sami won. He pinned him first, right? I mean, like, so I wish they did that differently. But all in all, I thought it was a great show. I'm really looking forward to Friday again. I'm really looking forward to next Monday. It's really enjoyable when WWE can have their full lineup of programming and there's not really like a dead spot in there. I didn't really touch on everything, but this is just a nice brief little review. I would say this week that Raw is better than SmackDown. So as far as Raw versus SmackDown versus Raw is concerned, I thought this week's past SmackDown was not as good as this week's Raw. Whatever you guys thought, if you agree, disagree, doesn't matter. We're all just here talking about things we love. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.